World War I, also known as the Great War, was a global conflict that lasted from 1914 to 1918. It was a war unlike any other, with devastating consequences for millions of people around the world. But what were the causes of this catastrophic event? The causes of World War I were complex and multifaceted. One of the main causes was the system of alliances that existed between the major powers in Europe. These alliances were meant to provide security and stability, but instead they created a delicate balance of power that was easily upset by any one event. Another major cause of the war was imperialism. The major European powers were competing for colonies and resources around the world, leading to tensions and rivalries that ultimately boiled over into conflict. Nationalism was also a significant factor in the outbreak of World War I. Many countries were gripped by a sense of national pride and identity, leading to a willingness to go to war in defense of their nation's interests. Additionally, militarism was another important cause of the war. The major powers had been engaged in an arms race for years, leading to the development of massive and powerful military forces that were itching for a fight. And on June 28, 1914, the world was forever changed by a tragic event that sparked the beginning of one of the deadliest conflicts in modern history. This event was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary. The Archduke, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, was visiting the city of Sarajevo in Bosnia when he and his wife, Duchess Sophie, were shot and killed by a young Bosnian Serb nationalist named Gavrilo Princip. This act of violence set off a chain reaction of events that would ultimately lead to the outbreak of war. As news of the assassination spread, tensions between the major powers of Europe began to escalate. Austria-Hungary blamed Serbia for the attack and issued an ultimatum demanding Serbian cooperation in the investigation. When Serbia refused to comply with all of the demands, Austria-Hungary declared war on July 28, 1914. The alliances and treaties that had been formed in the years leading up to the assassination quickly pulled other countries into the conflict. Russia, as a supporter of Serbia, mobilized its army to defend its ally. Germany, in support of Austria-Hungary, declared war on Russia and its ally France. The dominoes continued to fall as Britain, Italy, and the Ottoman Empire joined the fray. What started as a regional conflict in the Balkans soon engulfed much of the world in a brutal and devastating war. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand became the catalyst for a conflict that would claim the lives of millions and forever change the course of history. And so, as we look back on the events of June 28, 1914, we can see how a single act of violence set in motion a series of events that would shape the world for years to come. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand marked the beginning of a dark chapter in human history. As the war raged on, a new form of warfare emerged: trench warfare. The brutal reality of trench warfare was a far cry from the romanticized images of battle that had been portrayed in history books. Soldiers endured unimaginable hardships in the trenches, living in squalid conditions surrounded by death and destruction. The stench of mud and decay permeated the air, while rats scurried around looking for scraps of food. Disease ran rampant, claiming the lives of many soldiers who had already survived the horrors of battle. Day after day, soldiers huddled in the trenches, waiting for the call to go over the top and face the enemy. The constant shelling and gunfire created a deafening cacophony that never seemed to end. Men cowered in fear, knowing that at any moment they could be struck down by a sniper's bullet or a burst of machine gun fire. But amidst the horrors of trench warfare, a sense of camaraderie and brotherhood emerged among the soldiers. They shared their rations, laughed at each other's jokes, and supported one another in times of need. It was this bond that helped many soldiers endure the unrelenting brutality of war. As the war dragged on, the toll of trench warfare became increasingly apparent. Thousands of soldiers lost their lives in the muddy trenches of Europe, their sacrifices forever etched in the annals of history. This conflict, known as World War I, was marked by devastating battles that would leave a lasting impact on nations and generations to come. One of the major battles that defined the brutality of World War I was the Battle of the Somme, fought between July and November 1916. This battle saw hundreds of thousands of soldiers from both sides clash in a bloody struggle for control of the Western Front. The staggering number of casualties, with over 1 million men killed or wounded, shocked the world and highlighted the grim reality of modern warfare. Another key battle that exemplified the fierce fighting of World War I was the Battle of Verdun, lasting over 10 months from February to December 1916.